Welcome back. Technical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger. The date is August 23rd, 2022. And yes, I know I owe you guys a song. Music Monday was MIA yesterday because I was celebrating Kitten and I was celebrating a good friend's birthday at lunchtime, and then I had to work at the studio teaching class, working with my student after that. So I am not quite sure yet when uh, I'm going to be able to make that episode up, but suffice to say, it will come when it comes. Anyway, my throat is not quite back to 100%, not to my singing voice uh, in any case. So it's perhaps a blessing in disguise that we're waiting a little bit for Music Monday. However, other than my uh, gravelly, grouchy voice, the rest of me feel pretty good. So today, we are going to take a step away from all these elbows that we've been doing, because I imagine that you guys are getting a little bit uh, tired and elbows, although there are a lot of more elbow stuff, related stuff that we can touch on in the future. I remember one time my sensei asked me, and he said, "Hey, do you have enough material to teach the class and make them work on it for a long time without overloading them with all different kinds of techniques?" And I kind of laughed because I was thinking, heck, just on elbows alone, and all the ins and outs of elbows, how to put in power, how to throw in speed, different angles of elbow strike, different scenarios of elbow strike. I can keep you guys busy for a whole year at least, just on elbows. You'll be really sick and tired of your elbows after that, but I can definitely do it. I have enough elbow material to keep this going for about a year. But yeah, I'm not going to do that to you guys because in addition to being educational somewhat and um, demonstrative somewhat, these videos are supposed to be like a buffet, you know? They're supposed to give you a little bit of a taste of everything. So today we're going to step away from elbow and we're going to address something that we actually addressed in class yesterday, which is the famous, or maybe not so famous, Jujitsu armdrag. One of my personal favorite technique in fighting, sparring, brawling, even though when I perform armdrag, it's usually not the traditional uh, jiu-jitsu, judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, aikido, armdrag that you'll mostly be seeing and we'll be looking at today. But what I do is basically a more evolved version based on my own preferred fighting style. So once you master this simple, basic grappling technique, the arm drag, you can add a lot of flares to however you want to do it, which makes it a really good entry level basic technique. So what is an arm drag? To put it simply, an arm drag is whenever a person is either grabbing you, like this lapel grab or this throat choke, or in striking, if a person is throwing this big overhand hook coming in from the side, anytime when the person exposes an arm to me when we're facing each other, and anytime I can catch this arm and have a hold of it for a second, then we can use the arm drag. The purpose of the arm drag is to use this arm to pull the person to the side and make them turn. So ideally, It I won't be able to show it on a stationary uh, target like this. But this is one reason why I do more striking video than grappling video, because when you're showing grappling, it's just really difficult to do it without a live partner to demonstrate with. Uh, and Kitten is otherwise occupied. Otherwise, I would have her in here give me a hand with this. Um, Maybe one day I'll buy myself a grappling dummy, and this will be easier. Anyway, so the idea is if I drag the person's arm in the right way, it will pull them to the side and expose their back to me, and then I can glide up and go for that big anaconda choke, or go for that rear naked choke, or that bow and arrow choke, whatever, right? So it's a very useful technique that allow you to utilize the person's own momentum to turn them, to pull them, to make them lose balance. Because make no mistake about it, unless you are really, really, really stronger than whoever you're fighting, unless you have massive strength and weight advantage, in which case you shouldn't be fighting the guy in the first place. But okay, yeah, unless you have massive weight or strength advantage, you will not be able to get this arm drag to work unless the person commits their momentum. For example, they're coming in with a big hook, and I stop this, but there's still a lot of momentum coming in, and I can drag them to the side, like that, okay? That's the only time arm drag is going to work. This is something that need you guys to understand, because this is important when you work with a partner. Okay, you can't just stand here and then say, hey, okay, arm drag me, and then you stand like a tree. It will be very tiring, very difficult. It's just not what arm drag is meant to do. Arm drag is when there's already momentum coming in, and you use that momentum and drag the person's arm to the side, and turn them that way, right? If you don't believe me, find someone who's stronger than you, heavier than you, and get them and tell them, okay, when I grab your arm, don't let me pull you, no matter what. I guarantee you won't be able to arm drag them. Yeah, so the person need to have that momentum to for your arm drag to work. That's number one. Number two, arm drag need to go down and not up. Okay, especially if the person is big. If you drag up, you don't have a lot of leverage. But if you keep this nice and low, then you will have a better chance of being able to pull the person. Now let's look at the proper way to grip an arm drag. A lot of people, when they do arm drag, they say, wow, this is not working. And a big part is that gripping the wrong area of the arm. Okay, you cannot arm drag by gripping just the forearm. Okay, so arm drag, obviously you need both arm against one arm. Okay, yeah. Again, unless you're super strong, if you have one arm against their one arm, you're not going to be able to pull them around. Yeah. Okay, so the person got their hand, well, for the sake of this video, so you guys can see, I'm just going to stand a little bit sideways. So the person's arm is out like this, either coming in like a hook or a slap, or they're grabbing me, yeah? So they're using their left hand, so they're gripping my right shoulder. My right arm want to come up and cupping their wrist. Okay, my right arm or gripping their sleeve. If they have sleeve, I'm going to grab their sleeve. If not, I'm going to cup their wrist. My left hand is going to shoot up their arm and grip really tight, really painfully their tricep or armpit. Okay, I'm acting like this is almost like I'm holding a really big battering ram. Okay, So remember, this top arm, this arm that gripping high, is very important. Grip from the bottom, not over top. Okay, if you grip over top, this is not going to work. You don't have the leverage. You don't have the pain factor. You don't have the pain compliance. You need to grip from under, so you can dig your thumb into the inside of the upper arm, the painful part. Okay, so grip the tricep, not the elbow, not the forearm. If you grab the elbow or the forearm and you try to drag the person, all that's going to happen is the arm going to bend. And you end up bending the arm. You're not dragging the body. Then you need to grip the upper arm where there's nothing that's going to bend, and then you drag them around. That will force the body to turn. Okay? So lower hand on the wrist or sleeve, upper hand on the armpit or tricep. Okay, like this. Upper hand always gripping from below. Lower hand not so finicky. Lower hand you can grip from below, from the outside, or you can grip from the top like this. Doesn't really matter. Okay, myself I prefer to grab from the top because then I can anchor this against my chest, my body, my armpit. Right now, this person, if they try to pull their arm back, I can anchor a little bit. Okay, I can fight them. Now, if I grab this from below, both ways, if I grab this way from below, then they pull back, then suddenly there's a bit of a struggle, and they're kind of close to my face. I don't like that, right? So if I'm going for arm drag, the left hand, the top hand, the whichever hand is going for the armpit or tricep, always go from under and grip, grabbing on from under. Okay? Depending on the attack, whether it's a hook, a stab with a knife, or a grip, a choke, I will try to worm my lower hand over it so I can wedge this against my body. But if not, then I will grip from under. Grip from under. It's not ideal. Like I said, this is close to my face. I don't like it. Right? Once I secure this grip, I got my top hand on the tricep. I got my lower hand on the wrist. I will stick my butt back. Why am I doing that? Because this I make room to swing this arm over to the other side. Right? Otherwise it will get jammed up against my body. Right? So I'm going to swing my butt back while pulling this to the other side like I'm swinging a really big wheel, like I've got a hold of a rope. Okay, let's say you have a rope that's tied to a giant wheel, and you want to turn, make that wheel turn by pulling the rope. Okay, that's the motion you're looking for. You drag it across like you're trying to turn the giant wheel with that rope. Huh? That is the basic arm drag. Okay, you do it on a live target. Like I said, it looks more convincing. If I do it on live target, you will actually see the person staggering and turning their back to me. Okay, on a stationary target, it's harder to see that. Now, this is where I'm going to do a little bit of a myth busting. Uh, One time when I was teaching in class on if someone grabbed me and then how do you get out of that, and how do you arm drag the person, uh, and so on. And one of the students piped up and said, so after you drag them to the side so their back is towards you, I suppose you go into your fancy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu rear naked choke, right? Okay, so maybe another person, maybe someone else will do it. Maybe another fighter, maybe another instructor will say that. Will say, okay, after you do the arm drag and then you take the back, get your hand over to the other side and sneak around the neck and then get your arm under the arm and then you can start choking. Right? I know how that works, right? But that this is the myth busting part. That's not what I'm going to do, right? Johnny Tiger at the core has always been a striker, has always been a brawler. I know my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I know my Judo, I know uh, my uh, grappling, but if I'm arm dragging somebody, very rarely will I turn this into a grappling game. So let me show you guys two of the things that I usually do when I arm drag somebody. If I arm drag somebody and the person starting to turn, I'm going to shuffle right in and my inside knee, the knee that's close to them, come right up into the liver, into the rib cage. Okay, I may just hold onto the arm and start knee striking from here, right? That's more likely of what I'm going to do. Number two, and don't do it to each other very hard. This one hurt a lot. Okay, uh, if I'm to arm drag somebody to the side like this, I'm stepping in. I will let go with my lower arm, and then my elbow will chop right into the back of the body where there's hardly any muscle, just your lat and your rib cage. I will go to chop right into that with my elbow. Okay? Again, just me. I'm not going to arm drag so I can get into some fancy grappling stuff. Nothing against grappling, fancy grappling stuff, but I like to do the kind of hard strike that can end the fight quickly. Now, as I already pointed out, the arm drag doesn't work unless you have sufficient momentum or you are sufficiently strong, stronger than your opponent. Which means a lot of time, unless you are very good with your timing, you will mess up you will mess up your arm drag. You will go like this. The person swing and then oi, oi, and then you try to drag, drag, and the person's not moving. The person's standing there laughing at you, like, what are you doing? And on the other hand, it's now coming at your face, right? What do you do in this case? This is the problem-solving part of any self-defense, any martial art. Very important. Okay, let me show you guys three simple hacks when this happens. Three ways to get back on the advantage. Okay, don't stay there being awkward. Number one, this is a nice little hack. If I arm drag somebody and the person is pulling back super hard and not moving, okay, if they're not spinning with my arm drag, then I'm just going to sink all my weight down toward the floor, yanking the arm down like this. What's happening then is they one arm have to hold out my entire body weight for that split second. This will yank them off balance, allowing me to complete my arm drag. So anytime your arm drag gets stuck, do a quick little crouch like you're sitting down, you're doing a seat drop toward the floor. That will most likely break their posture because all your weight come down on their arm in that moment. Number two, um, something that I do, I've shown before on videos and I do quite often. If I arm drag somebody and the person is not moving, I'm not going to waste energy muscling it. Rather, rather than pulling them across, I'm going to use their, uh, because they're pulling back or they're standing firm, so I'm going to use their weight to pull myself behind them. And as I pull myself behind them, as you guys can see, my elbow is already coming up, boom, right into the ear, right into the back of the head, right? So I'm going to pull myself behind them rather than trying to muscle them around. So again, I arm drag. If they move, they move. If they don't, then I pull myself behind them, elbow going into the head. That's hack number two. Hack number three is if the person is really pulling back, if the arm is really yanking back and you can't undrag them, that's okay. Go with them. Okay? Let me show you guys a quick little change in grab. So let's say I try to undrag the person and the arm is solid, the person yanking back. Rather than trying to fight it, I'm going to step right in my arm, my inside arm, the one that was on the tricep. I'm going to swing this right up into the armpit. Okay, I'm going to underhook them with my other arm still on the wrist. So already you can see this shooting in motion will end up with my arm lifting their arm behind them. So from here, all you take is I cup their elbow from behind and hitting them with my bicep. Okay, that that will not break the arm. This is not a martial arts kung fu movie, but what that's going to do, hyperextend the heck out of the arm, making that arm very very painful to use after that. Okay, it will strain the heck out of everything in the upper arm if you do this quick and snappy, right? So if I undrag the person and pull him back and I don't want to waste a lot of energy fighting this, I'll shoot right in and bend the arm back like that. Okay, so those are just three. There are many, many, many solutions to when the arm drag fails, but those are the primary three that I favor and I show you guys today. Hopefully, this has been comprehensive, useful, and like I said, I'll make it up to you guys. Kitten and I will make it up to you guys about the Music Monday sometime this week. But for sure, I'll be back tomorrow for some Wisdom Wednesday. For now, have a good night.